Today we're diving into a story where the fate of a nation, right in the middle of a brutal civil war, wasn't decided by cannons or armies, but by a single, brilliantly forged letter. It's a tale of high-stakes espionage, where a desperate general's clever lie goes head-to-head with a master leader's genius. And just to set the scene, let's get a feel for the stakes here. This is from one of the conflict's most ruthless generals, Jean-Jacques Dessalines. Yeah, this was not a war of negotiation. It was a winner-take-all fight for survival, where every single move could be your last. So, our story kicks off in 1799 in the French colony of Saint-Domingue. Now, this place is being absolutely torn apart, not just by a rebellion, but by a nasty civil war between guys who used to be allies. At the heart of this conflict, which they called the War of Knives, you've got two incredibly powerful leaders. On one side, there's Toussaint Louverture. He's the governor general, and he has a vision for one unified colony. On the other side, you've got André Rigaud, a prominent leader of mixed heritage who commands the South. He wants his own autonomous state. Their ambitions are on a collision course, and it's about to get bloody. Okay, so the whole conflict really comes to a head at this one strategic port city, Jacmel. It's a crucial stronghold for Rigaud in the south, and right now, it is under a crushing siege. The man holding down the fort inside Jacmel is General Alexandre Pétion. He is one of Rigaud's best commanders, a brilliant tactician really. But as 1799 draws to a close, he is in an absolutely impossible situation. I mean, Pétion's back is completely against the wall. He's surrounded on land by 10,000 of Dessalines' soldiers. He's blockaded at sea by the American Navy, which is actually sided with Toussaint. And inside the city, he's running out of everything. Gunpowder, cannonballs, and most importantly, food. The city is literally starving. And just when it seems like all hope is lost, something strange happens. An officer comes in and tells him, "Mon général, we've captured an American." Apparently, they found some American sailor in a brothel downtown. For Pétion, though, this isn't just some minor incident. It might just be the lifeline he's been praying for. Now, this American, a young man named Michael McCoy, is not at all who he says he is, and General Pétion, being a master strategist, immediately senses an opportunity. So McCoy puts on this whole act. He claims he's just a 19-year-old kid who wandered off his ship, but he's actually a 24-year-old spy working for the U.S. State Department. His real mission? To figure out just how strong Rigaud's army is. He thinks getting captured is a clever part of his cover, an easy way to get in front of the enemy commander. He has no idea who he's dealing with. See, Pétion wasn't just some soldier. He was trained in espionage at the best military academy in France. He starts this very calm, very careful interrogation, and he sees right through this kid's bravado. He cuts straight to the point. McCoy just laughs it off, trying to play it cool, but it's way too late for that. The gears are already turning in Pétion's head. He's already piecing together a wild plan to use this spy to save his entire city. So Pétion dangles this irresistible bait. He doesn't accuse McCoy outright. Instead, he speaks hypothetically. What if he could give this spy some information so valuable it would not only save the American Republic, but make his career? And all he wants in return is a little break from that American blockade. And here it is. This is the bait. It's a document, a fragment of what looks like a letter from Toussaint Louverture to Napoleon Bonaparte. And what it says is shocking. It outlines a secret plan for them to combine their armies, 100,000 men, and invade the United States. And McCoy buys it. Hook, line, and sinker. He's convinced he's just stumbled upon the conspiracy of the century. So he agrees to the deal. The American warship will pull out of the harbor for 3 days. That's all the time Pétion needs to get his supplies. But the second McCoy is out the door, Pétion turns to his second-in-command and reveals the truth. The letter, the whole conspiracy, it was a complete fake. A brilliant forgery created for one reason and one reason only, to get that harbor open. All right, so now the scene shifts. We follow our unwitting pawn, Michael McCoy, as he races to Toussaint's estate to deliver this spectacular, world-changing piece of intel. McCoy, feeling like the hero of the hour, presents the letter to the main U.S. envoy, Dr. Edward Stevens. And as luck would have it, Stevens happens to be a good friend of Toussaint's and is staying at his estate for the holidays. Stevens reads it, he's horrified, and they both agree they have to confront Toussaint immediately. But when they present Toussaint with this proof of his treason, he doesn't panic. He doesn't get angry. He just laughs. A big, hearty laugh. He holds the letter up and calls it a sick joke and an obvious fake. And then he proceeds to calmly and methodically take the entire deception apart, piece by piece. And this right here is the masterstroke. He doesn't just deny it, he teaches them a lesson in counter-espionage. First, he admits, yeah, the signature and the seal, they're perfect copies. But then he says, Mr. McCoy, feel this paper. He has him compare it to his own official documents. And Toussaint explains that all his important correspondence is done on the finest vellum, made from lambskin. The forgery? It's on cheap, common parchment. The difference is obvious, and McCoy is just completely humiliated. And this is where Pétion's brilliant little gambits, which worked so well in the short term, ends up having massive, disastrous consequences for his side of the war. For Michael McCoy, his career as a spy is over before it even began. He gets shipped back to Philadelphia in total disgrace. But the real loser here is André Rigaud. Sure, Pétion got his 3-day window for supplies, but by trying to frame Toussaint, he managed to prove to the Americans that Rigaud's faction was completely untrustworthy. This incident basically solidifies the American alliance with Toussaint. A new agreement is drawn up immediately. The U.S. is no longer just a passive supporter. Now, they are all in. American naval captains are placed directly under Toussaint's command, with orders to actively hunt down and destroy Rigaud's ships. You know, as Pétion himself said, deception is just another weapon of war. But in this case, his clever trick ended up arming his enemy with something way more powerful than a few cannons, the full, covert backing of the United States Navy. He won a tiny battle for a few crates of supplies, but in doing so, he lost the entire strategic war for allies. So it leaves you with this question, right? In the brutal math of warfare, where just surviving is the goal, is a clever lie a tool of genius? Or is the cost of getting caught just too devastating to risk it?